Good evening, YouTube. Needlebender785 Ohio. Here with getting close to final video here. GS-35b dual tuber. Doing some. It's probably the video that a lot of people are looking forward to seeing. This is where we actually fire this thing up and actually look at some meters, and this is where stuff starts to get exciting. Hopefully not too exciting, but anyway. So I've actually just run this thing, just done some tests on it, did some initial tuning on it, and you still see some residual voltage on it as the bleeder circuit. So we're going to do a startup sequence on this and kind of go over this. I will be operating this without the top lid, so obviously necessary precautions for the equipment inside, and we're just going to be a couple of feet away using this foot switch here and that microphone up there to key this thing up. This thing does have variable bias, and we'll demonstrate that as well. So right now its amplifier's off, so we turn on the blowers. That just turns the fans on and kind of gets juices flowing. It turns on the 12-volt circuit as well as the blower. Now this is the main one. This is the step filament and the step high voltage. And pay attention to this high voltage meter. Resting at about 4250, 4300 volts. And that's going to drop down to about just under 4,000 volts in proper operation. This thing is, I did a 24-hour burn-in on these tubes. That's what you're supposed to do with these tubes. So if you are playing with these or building something with these any of these tubes, make sure you do full 24 hours with no high voltage, and that'll save you a lot of headache. And that's just, there's a ham radio guy out there that actually published data in regards to high voltage arcs inside the tube, and there's a chart on how many hours of burn-in it took. I mean, this guy did a lot of testing, and that's what I got to thank the ham radio community, is they do share a lot of good data, which is free out there for people to use. And I kind of wish more people in the 11 meter community would share data as freely as some of the ham guys do. So got to give credit when credit is due. So anyway, I digress. Anyway, let's get started with this test here. These two tubes do require a 90-second warm-up, so once the whole thing starts up and there is high voltage, you want to wait 90 seconds before you transmit. And the last switch right here is the operate switch, and this needs a little knob, but that's your variable bias. I'll demonstrate that. So right now, got about 250 mils, and right now got 750, which is kind of too much. And over here, all the way down, we got 100 mils. So perfect. And it's a little too little. Adjust it. I want about 350. There we go. It's called dial a bias. Also, thank the ham radio community for providing me with the circuitry, because that's what ham guys use on a lot of these tube boxes. Anyway, we got okay, so got a 5-watt slug in reverse, got a striker 955, and the kind of a crappy dummy load, and this LP700 great meter So we're on AM just for this test. Like I said, this is a low power. Just kind of see where we're at. Step on the foot pedal with the bias, and we're looking at about 200 volt drop. And we're going to dead key about 1,000 watts. Oh, too high maybe. Audio. Oh, just under 3,000 watts, and that's with a barefoot striker hitting it with 100 watts exactly. And we're doing, I wouldn't say it's, I mean, it's right at 3,000. It's like 2,950. Let's get closer to this. Oh, yeah, but just under 3,000 watts. Let's look at the current draw. Oh, 1 amp, barely 1 amp, and that's about. This thing can safely do just under 2 amps, so I would say close, maybe half power, but I'd probably expect safely 5,000 watts out of this box with the way the power supply is rigged and everything. But this is a low power test just to see just to show operation. And again, we look for, as we increase drive, the tube MU or tube performance will actually decrease with the amount of drive. Like right now, we're putting in 100 watts and we're getting 3,000 now, so we're getting 30 times amplification. When you get to about 10x, you know you've reached saturation. And some people will disagree and they want to push the tube a little harder and get more out of it, but I usually say if you get to 10x, let's say you're putting 500 watts in and you're getting 5,000 out, you don't want to increase the drive any further. So right now we're at 30x, which is phenomenal. So I do anticipate that falling off a little bit, so probably as we go to 150 drive, we're going to probably get about 4,500. I anticipate 200 to 220 as the power needed to reach that 5,000 watts. So, like I said, we'll get to that. We'll be using the driver here in an upcoming video, but I just finished building this, and I literally spent all day working on this. There's a missing vacuum relay up there because it's out of the circuit. That's on purpose. I have it bypassed right now because I was working on this thing upside down. I didn't want to damage it, so the relay's out and there's a simple short going on there. So there is no pass-through right now. I do have to finish the pass-through tune as well, but as of right now, we're just getting this thing into operation, seeing how she works and performs. And so far, no surprises, which is actually surprising. Usually something goes sideways somewhere, and then you got to fix it and test it again. But so far, it's been. I hooked it up and then fired it up, tuned it out, and it was working. And here we go. Oh, yeah, just flirting with a 3,000 mark with 100 watts in. So, okay. Anyway, future video we'll be doing a kind of more of a full power output. We'll have this thing buttoned up. We'll have the holes made and all kinds of fun stuff. Right now we're gonna shut this thing off. Actually, we're gonna leave the fan going as we watch the high voltage bleed down right there. And then we're gonna short it out and ground it out, unplug it, and it will be the end of the workday here at the X-Electro 785 Needle Bender 785 amplifier factory here. I'm just kidding. I don't make that many, but thanks for watching 73s, and we'll catch you in the next one. Needle Bender 785 Ohio, back on the side.